Hello everybody, Justin here. American Mustang School, the mystery school, and I've got Cinnamon here. I want to take you on a little bit of a journey that we're on today, and that journey is finding true self. So how do we find it? It's a good question. It's a great question, and it should be asked every interaction with your horse. Most of you know I teach sacred art of horsemanship. It's a set apart practice of self-study with a horse as an accountability partner. And the reason that I start out this video saying that is because a lot of us try to focus on the horse, which we should. It's really important to focus on ourselves, present to the horse, observe their feedback, be willing to make changes in ourselves, present again, to get the most desirable results. We call it a feedback loop. You can look at other videos to find out exactly how the feedback loop works. But we are going to touch on some of that in this video today. See, we're programmed and conditioned from a small age up. In our interaction with our horses, we have to recognize some of that programming and conditioning is presented to them, whether we're aware of it or not. So let me take a deep breath too, Cinnamon. So in interacting with our horses, you've got to understand wherever they are at this very moment, there has been some programming and conditioning on them. I like to get wild horses that are programmed and conditioned out in the wild, uninterrupted by man. They come into the human element. I want to present to them the most efficient, effective way to A, find their true self and allow them to be that in the human element, and B, allow them to know that they are empowered to have a voice to let me know where I need to change to create that relationship of trust. I do not throw trust around. In most of my videos, pretty much all of my videos you've watched, very rarely will I say trust, and this is why. This video, I will teach you what I think trust really is. See, a horse is true and honest. They don't lie. If we allow them to be their authentic self, their true self, they're going to give us feedback that is so true, so honest, so efficient, so effective in elevating what? Awareness, conscious awareness in ourselves and in them. So understanding that programming and conditioning in ourselves and in our horses too, this relationship can actually be built on trust. The purest form of self-expression is authenticity. When we can be our authentic selves and present to our horses, we get the truth back. Now, if we mask that based on someone else's opinion, or if we haven't identified that we've been programmed to believe something or conditioned to believe something, and we're presenting that to our horse and we're not getting the desirable feedback we want from our horses, we have to understand that we've got to realize this is introspection we have to check. Are we aligned in our thoughts, in our emotion, in our attitude, in our action? Are we connecting in the mind, in the heart, in the mind and the body? Are those flowing, those energies flowing back and forth freely? Is there restriction? Are we restricted in the heart where our brain or mind can't process information efficiently and effectively? I want to try to go through this and keep it simple, but it can get complex. So let's keep it simple, and we'll start with inner harmony. If you control what you can control, which are your thoughts, emotions, internal, attitude, action, external, you will start to see an agreement form. The inner pathway of communication, thought, emotion, they have thought, emotion, and outside reflection of their thought and emotion is attitude, action. Now, let me clarify attitude for you, because sometimes people, they skip attitude. They just go thought, emotion, action. Attitude's real important in horsemanship, because how are you posturing? An attitude is like a physical posturing. And You might have seen it in my last video. I got cold, so I was posturing differently than I would be today where I'm not cold. I have an awareness of that. So that posturing, they're aware of. Your shoulders may be tense. That posture is going to be shoulders up. Your posturing may be rigid and a little bracy. That is an action, but the posture is real important. How are you posturing? When you're sitting on their back, are you slouched or are you postured as I want to communicate with you most efficiently and effectively? Or am I slouched? It's just an awareness, guys. So the 4 things we can control are thoughts, emotions, attitude, action. Both horses and humans have those. They need to synchronize. It's inner pathway of communication, outer pathway of communication, and that is a feedback loop. So the resonance with truth. Authenticity vibrates in truth. Horses resonate with the truth. They resonate with honesty. So if you're coming from a place of authenticity, your heart, that's where authenticity is seated. It's one of the things that if you're not aware of that and you're not opening your heart, and we're going to tap into some other things here too, but I want to try to ease into it so you can kind of understand this. If we're not open in the heart and the mind, we're not giving the full 100% of our ability to communicate with our horses or ourselves. That's why the sacred art of horsemanship is self-study. Present. Observe feedback from our accountability partner that is in their authentic self. If we've aligned the things to allow them to be their authentic self. And what I mean by that is programming and conditioning. If I've programmed her and conditioned her to fear me, she is not going to open in the heart. She's not going to open in the mind. There's going to be restrictions in the mind and in the heart. She cannot be her authentic self. If I truly care about this horse and allowing her to ascend in a consciousness, I've got to allow her to think freely. I've got to allow her to feel freely. Thought, mind, heart, emotion. I've got to let that happen. And I've got to let her express that in attitude and action. I have to become aware of it in myself. I have to become aware of it in my horse. If we ever want to ascend in this relationship, in this consciousness, awareness in our relationship. So the alignment with our true self, our authentic self, will create that trust in the relationship. Because if she can think freely and feel freely, thought and emotion, and she can express herself in a posture, attitude, and she can move freely in action to empower her to have a voice, to give me the feedback I need, because I do want the truth. I want honesty. I want this trust between us, that I will offer this in equilibrium. I want you to offer it because I want to change. I want to change. I want to become better. I want to enhance this relationship, life enrichment. It's very important. Now, why is authenticity important? Why is self-expression important? The connection with the single source, the infinite intelligence, I call it Yah, I call it Yahweh, I call it the all. I call it love. I want to vibrate at love, and that's that connection to something much bigger than myself, something much bigger than my horse. But in unity, we can acquire the information. We can attract it. We can draw it to us. So it becomes very attractive when you're speaking or living from authenticity. Horses will draw to that because they recognize that vibrational frequency. They're like, hey, you're onto something. I like what you're becoming. I like what I'm becoming. I can feel this between us. And then once you wash, rinse, repeat that, you start to practice that, you start to get a law of repetition, get a habit, build a character. They follow you because of what you're becoming, but you follow them because of what they're becoming. And it's just this cyclical enhancement within the relationship that lets us know, like, we are being authentic. Outside influences have little to no effect on us. Our programming and conditioning can change. We can recognize it, but we can change and almost have a superpower. Then you start understanding self-reflection. And our school here teaches these 5 levels of horsemanship so we can run through those, and at the end, which there's never an end, but at the end of that particular session, we can self-reflect. What could we do to become better? What were the highlights of our engagement? That's self-examining. That's understanding that, yeah, your rules you follow, your beliefs you follow, your philosophies you have, all of the things that you have learned and kept and got rid of what you don't, they have value. And then you bring it into your relationship to enhance your relationship, to enhance yourself, enhance your horse. That'll give you the courage that you need to understand, operating from an authentic place, your true self. You'll be able to face rejection a lot easier. You'll be able to get in a vulnerable position and understand. So when she takes a deep breath, I take a deep breath, allows us to synchronize internally, externally, and get a deeper understanding of each other and ourselves. Getting back to this courage, what it really does, coming from a place of authenticity, true self, operating there, practicing it, creating something that doesn't exist, relationship. We can go into 5 main areas of your life, but let's just talk about the relationship with your horse. How do I help this horse? How do I find her true self? How do I find her authenticity to bring to fulfilling her purpose, but to bring to what it is we're doing for her, for me, for others that we include in our relationship? You know, we have a therapeutic value to this. Coming from authenticity, true self is very healing for us and attracting others to us, healing for them, because it's got a magnetism to it. You want to go to something that's authentic and true. So the courage, you know, all of the things that we're talking about, the courage that comes from that, you ascend in consciousness. You're not in fear. She's not in fear. You're not in shame and guilt. She's definitely not in shame and guilt. She rises up into courage, desiring more of authenticity, her true self. She starts to gain a conscious awareness of, wow, the human element is something much different than when I was in the wild. I actually would never have experienced these contrasts in the human element out in the wild, uninterrupted by man. Now, are we interrupting her by man? Yes. Is it a positive or a negative? And we're going to give that a value judgment of good or bad most of the time, but let's just talk about positive and negative. We're going to say yes and yes. But we're going to empower her to pick which way she wants to polarize in the human element. If I force her to submit with pain or fear of pain, she's not going to be in her true authentic self. She's going to polarize probably negative, we'll call it, and not want to be engaged. Her life isn't, from her perspective, her life isn't being enriched. So we have to, at the end of the day, we have to look at self-reflection and go, okay, am I helping this horse by finding all of the things that hurt the horse and avoiding them? Yes. Okay, let's keep doing that. And am I doing that for me? Am I finding all the things that hurt me? You know, I observe me. Am I finding all of the things that hurt me and avoiding them? Yes. Have we made mistakes? Yes. Is that part of the journey? Of course. That gives us the courage to keep going, regardless of outside influences, outside programming, outside conditioning. So I've developed my relationship with my horses, and I'll say my. I've developed her relationship with me, her relationship with other horses, her relationship with other people on the seat of authenticity. I want this horse to work in her sweet spot, thrive in her sweet spot, meaning I want her to present to me her authentic, individual, true self. And I recognize it, embrace it, and then allow it to flow naturally. That is what's going to connect to that divine, that's that divine connection. That's that ascension in consciousness to where, yeah, we were both created by something much bigger than ourselves, but we're part of that. We get to create too. It's a beautiful experience in just the micro of a horse-human relationship, but on the macro of her soul developing, my soul developing, the spirit coming into us and giving us the strength and the power to have the courage to continue to grow and develop and enrich my life, enrich her life. And then anyone that we attract, and these days I really just attract, let it flow, not force it, run around and cram it down somebody's throat. No. If you're watching this video, it's because you were attracted to this in some way. Attract the ones that want to hear, want to see, want to embrace, and be empowered to live freely with their authenticity, their true self. And 2 more things before we start doing what we're going to do. As we engage in this, you're getting a heart connection. You're getting an understanding that your heart is your true essence. When you think and feel, and it's uninterrupted and it flows, in anything you do with your horse, you are ascending in consciousness. You are becoming something you're not. You are creating a character in yourself, a character in your horse. It is magnetic. It is something that, man, sometimes these words don't come because probably not a word for it. But in the lowly human language of English, it's empowering. It's true essence. The true essence. That would probably be it. When you can operate from something authentic, you are in communication with the divine, because that is you. That is you. And you are self-expressing you, your trueness. And that's how I've ascended so quickly in horsemanship. Any horse that comes in, the outside layman will look at it as like, oh, you're a wizard. Oh, you're so whatever. It's this, guys. It's self-study. It's like, no, I asked this horse about them to help me help them. I understand the feedback loop. I understand the 5-part series of 5 questions to ask any horse, and every horse to get a deeper understanding of the horse and allow them to get a deeper understanding of me, get a deeper understanding of themselves. I get a deeper understanding of myself. And then we operate on a connection much higher than each other. So the only way you could really understand this is to engage in it and get experience, or come to the school and I'll show you, and you get to feel it and you get to process it. One of the things that I created, and I really don't push this a lot, is a bitless bridle. Because the bitless bridle represents something. I like to say it represents fundamentals and concepts based on this video that we're making today. But it comes from a place of authenticity. I did not want my horses focusing on equipment that I asked them questions with. I didn't want to cause them any pain or fear from me to restrict the mind and the body. The restrictions of thought, the tensions in the body to restrict the heart. We've just touched on that. I want them to give me true feedback, honest feedback, not responding chaotically to pain. I want them to respond calmly to pressure, to a question, and then release of that pressure, a thank you, and then minimize it down to where this thing goes away. I've already showed you in last videos, we can ride bridle-less, but this is the stepping stone to get to there, because there's a process and a procedure to everything. It's like a formula to making a cake. You got to go through these certain things to create the best outcome, especially when it's based on the individual. And the formula being timing, pressures, rhythm, vibration, frequency, and understanding that we are in observance of ourselves. The sacred art of horsemanship, self-study. What am I thinking, feeling, posturing, doing? And then watching the most beautiful mirror on the planet, the horse, give me instant feedback so that I can make necessary changes to create the most desirable results in this relationship. I do things pretty much the same with all of my horses, and there's just little tweaks based on that individual, because I want them to come from a place of authenticity. I want to discover their true self. And sometimes they're programmed and conditioned before I get them, and I've got to, we'll call it, undo it. But I don't focus on the things that I don't desire. I always maintain this authentic from me, focus on the things I do desire, and they automatically replace the things we don't desire. And that's a beautiful thing. So I'm going to ask her to put on this bitless bridle, and we'll do a little riding exercise I want to show you. And he's like, yeah, this is your first time, Justin, to bridle me. These bridles are optional, aren't they, Cinnamon Girl? We sometimes use them, sometimes we don't. And it's a beautiful day today. Blue sky, sunny. Great day to play with a horse. And broke the monotony in her day. Broke the monotony in my day. And we can enhance, enrich our lives with each interaction. So I can spare you guys 5-part series. You know what that is. And knowing this horse, she's pretty ready. But what I'm going to do is start with a simple question of lateral. Yes. And we'll go on this side. See how soft she is on this side. It might be a different day. Fingertip pressure to remind my brain to stay soft, and I'll just pick up on that. She can feel that. Give a little bump. Yes. Or hello. Are you with me? Good job. So that question's, are you with me? And when she responds, it's yes. Release the pressure is a thank you. And then I'll do one more, and then I'll mount up. There you go. And I'll put a toe in the stirrup. And come on up. And I could ask her another lateral, or we could just pause for a second. And this alignment with our true self, our authentic self, create trust in this relationship, allows her to feel that vibrational frequency, recognize it. And then when I come off of that, she'll notice a difference in that frequency, notice a difference in that vibration. And then she can help me by calmly saying, hey, come back. Or sometimes abruptly, like, hey, you're drifting off of that, come back. And that's that feedback loop. And that's that maintaining that feedback loop, inner, outer, in this relationship, regardless of outside influences. So that gives us the courage. You know, when I created this bitless bridle, I had a lot of friends that were like, that'll never work. That's too many people, they already do bits, you know, and it's like, okay, well, maybe I will face some rejection, but I really care about my horses, and I would really like them to not feel any pain from me or my clients that I know are going to come into this equation. You know, the variable of many people riding my horses and then having the possibility of hurting them accidentally. They wouldn't know that, you know, they're not meaning to do it. So I was willing to face rejection from my peers, in which in many cases I did. And that's okay, because I knew that's my true, authentic self. I want more of an enriching experience for my horse than I do caring about what other people think, you know, trying to program me or condition me. I don't want them to program my horses and condition them in a way that's going to be detrimental to increasing the relationship. So I start down that path, and then one thing led to another, and we continue growing and developing. So what I'm doing here, guys, is just a little warm-up exercise, and it's just circling the obstacle. It's nothing. It's just a right leg to turn, a right leg to turn. I'll use reins as needed. Again, it's optional. You know, it's kind of one of those things you depend less on it as time goes on. And we're just doing laps to this, you know, counterclockwise direction. And I just got the thought of a seated stop, and I saw her head come up, but now I'm going to do a seated stop. And then take a deep breath, relax the shoulders, hips, legs, and then we'll come off center just by leaning forward, squeeze with both legs. And I'm basically asking her, how do you feel today? On a scale of 1 to 10, I'll apply leg pressures, release leg pressures. Those are questions. Ask with pressure, release with thank you. And then we'll go again. And I just come off center, lean forward just an inch, and squeeze with both legs. About, if I had to tell you how much pressure, is probably ounces, 4 ounces of pressure each leg. And then to make the turns with the right leg, it's probably about 6 ounces of pressure, in the zone of 4 to 6 ounces. And then those could change, because as she starts to relax, as she starts to understand, oh, this is what we're doing, okay. and then we start to get into a conversation, I can really peel back her true self, her authenticity, you know, like, what do you want to do today? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What's your posture? What are your actions based on me presenting something to you? And then we just cruise. And then I can ask her to stop right here, seated stop. Take a deep breath, hold it, relax. Relax the shoulders, hips, the legs. And then let's do an about face, change directions. It's a direction change. And I'll just apply that same calf muscle, right leg, to change directions and go the other direction and just do a circle. You know, Cinnamon walks out really good, and I like to let her just freely express herself and walking out. It's like, well, I'm not going to make you walk slower. You know, I'm not going to restrain you. I want you to walk out. Tell me how you feel. Is she doing a lot of stopping? Is she walking faster into a trot? You know, some days are different, and sometimes that's happened. But this is how we ask. Just get out of the way. She took a trot. That's beautiful. I love that. Are you excited, Cinnamon? And honest, I didn't give her a bump or anything. She just kind of trotted a little bit faster than I expected. All right. This is how we observe that. And then wash, rinse, repeat what we did. You know, I may do a seated stop right here. I'm just going to sit down. Take a deep breath as I do. Exhale. Drop your shoulders. Relax your hips. Relax your legs. You're consciously aware of what you're thinking, feeling, posturing, attitude, action. You're going through this. She just took a deep breath. She just got a tension in the mouth release. We can let this soak for a second. And then we lean off of our center forward, squeeze with both legs, and walk into another walk in this direction. Okay, so now that we've gone in both directions, we can start entering into the obstacle. So we can just cruise through here, and then I'll give her a little more pressure on the left leg to turn out of it. And she walked over, that's fine. Do a more right leg pressure, and go into this little obstacle and come back out. And to save time on the video, you know, I could do some more, I know, honey, keep going. I could do some more walking around this circle and let her relax and then change directions, go the other, and just really ease into communication, you know, talking with her. I could pause here, seated stop. I could ask her for 2 steps back. There's one little baby one. Let's do a good one and another good one, and then relax. Take a deep breath. Hold it. Relax the shoulders, the hips, the legs. Offer her, same thing. I've separated her from her buddies. They're over there. She sees them, and her attention's over there. I'm aware of that. But that's an outside influence. I can create this feedback loop where I pay attention to her comfort level, pay attention to my comfort level, and in that relationship of understanding that, I can create the most efficient and effective way to build that trust. She'll trust that I have her in my best interest, and vice versa. And then we'll lean off center, walk. And this time, you know, we may try something a little bit more advanced. You know, let's come up to this here and pause, and we just stop over the log and just relax. And it's like a specific pinpointed question. Observe the feedback. We'll make changes as needed to get desirable results. And we could walk out of this and to the left. We could walk out of it to the right. We could side pass over. So I'm just going to ask her, you know, would you be willing to side pass to my left? And she's like, no, I'm going to go to the right. So it's like, well, let's try the left. So we just side pass over and then relax right here. Take a deep breath, drop the shoulders, relax the hips, relax the legs. Wait a few seconds. And then we just come off center, squeeze with both legs, walk again. And we could just do lazy circles around this whole obstacle just to kind of feel the horse, you know, and present to the horse what we expect from the horse, and then observe the feedback and see what changes I need to make in myself. Am I trying to do something that's not authentic, that's not from my true self? Am I programmed and conditioned based on outside influences of what I've seen or what I've done with past experiences? All of those things kind of start to get understood. Is my inner harmony in agreement? Meaning, am I aware of my thoughts, my emotions, my attitude, my actions? If I am, and I'm in alignment and I present to the horse, she took a deep breath, I'll take a deep breath. Is it resonating? Is she drawing to that? Or is she repelled? Is my perception of me the same perception, or how far apart is that? You know, I may perceive myself as, wow, I'm in alignment. My thoughts, my emotions, my attitude, my action. I'm aware of what my body's doing, what my hand's doing, what my leg's doing. I'm in full and total control of my thoughts and actions. But she's acting erratic and chaotic, undesirable. I'm having to force rather than create willingness. I've got outside influences I'm dealing with. Am I handling those before I ask her to handle those? Are you stable? Is it consistent? The most unique characteristic in a human is consistency. And when I say it's unique, because very few are consistent. They may be consistent in inconsistencies, but that's hard to follow, guys. We got to create consistency. And how does it start? Incremental, baby steps, going inward, understanding where authenticity comes from. It's you're opening your heart, listening. Quiet the noise in your mind. Listen to your heart. Open. Easier said than done, right? Well, we have an accountability partner right here. And it's like, okay, if I was backtracking in time and learning what I'm trying to teach you now in a video, it's like, well, it's kind of interesting. Doing that all those years ago was the cause, the effect is today. And I get to tell you about what I'm ready to tell you all these years ago. Opening the heart. Yeah, right. What does that mean? How do I do that? Well, whenever you think a thought and you're unaware of what your heart is either constricting or expanding, horses will help you understand that, because you'll think a thought, you implement it, and they may show you something that you didn't know how to get them to do, as far as reveal something to you, and like, oh, how did that happen? Well, then you start to correlate, well, I thought this, and then my heart opened to that, and then I presented it, and they drew to it. Let's do that again. On the contrast of that, the polar opposite of that, I thought something, it kind of caused me to restrict a little, but I did it anyway based on an outside influence. It was undesirable. Okay, note to self. This is self-study. You're going to make mistakes. We get redos. Each day is a new day. Each template gets to change tomorrow if we choose to change that template. Add to it, take away, reorganize, whatever. Horsemanship, horse-human relationship, is our microcosm of creating an understanding of the macrocosm. So what happens in the micro basically happens in the macro, but it's what am I thinking, what am I feeling, what is my attitude, what is my actions. In my book, I talk about a theme. And if you can focus consistently enough on one theme, so like this video is themed true self, how to find it. What is true self? It's authenticity. It's your authentic self. How do we find that? Well, you got to practice certain things. It's a formula. Create it. Self-study. First thing. Got to study myself. How do I observe me? Well, I get the help of a horse. That's pretty cool. You can rewatch videos of yourself. That's kind of cool. We didn't have that technology not too long ago. But it's like, okay, I want to present something to this horse. What is my goal? What am I trying to find? Am I trying to find out about the horse? That's a pretty good goal. How do I ask you to answer me in a way that helps you help me? And then it gets into this understanding where your feedback loop creates this relationship of trust, but also knowledge and wisdom. You develop a skill. You get experience through practice. And then challenges that arise are easily overcome. That's where courage comes in. You know, having the ability to do things with your horse, face rejection from others, and still stand firm and keep going. You know, be willing to be vulnerable for the betterment of yourself, betterment of your horse. Is it easy to go through being vulnerable? Not all the time. But if you practice it, it gets easier. It's one of those things where outside influences will give you like kind of a sense of, I can't wait to get another outside influence that could try to sway me off of my own authentic self. And then if you come off of it, it's like, okay, cool, I learned something, come back on. And through practice, you start to develop this character where you are authentic. You will realize one day that you're going to create your own reality. You can think it and imagine it and visualize it. And you can manifest that into becoming something that you did think of, but it gets so much better because you're like, wow, I couldn't even imagine how great this would be today. And I'm speaking from right this second, sitting in the sunshine on the back of one of the most beautiful creatures on the planet Earth. I never imagined that it could feel so blissful. I never imagined that it could be so enlightening, basking in love, the highest level of consciousness that could be attained, and just being willing to be vulnerable, being willing to face rejection on certain things, proving all things and holding on to what's good because you know that it's going to be worth doing. Anyway, we'll walk around a little bit more and see what else comes to mind. Cinnamon. I love this obstacle because I don't even know what I'm going to do, and neither does she. And that's really cool because you can harmonize together, meaning agree. You can ask questions. You can observe feedback, regardless of outside influence. You can feel the breeze on your face. You can feel feelings that you hadn't felt, thoughts that you hadn't thought. You can find joy in what you're doing, which creates happiness. You can help your horse find joy in what they're doing, which creates happiness. You know, she's one of those horses that's very affectionate. She's intuitive too. I want to say she reads minds, but she reads my mind, I'll say that. And she almost knows, like, okay, here's what we got to do to help you. I love that about her, because sometimes it is confusing. You know, you're trying to come from a place of authenticity. You're trying to really create this connection with the single source of infinite intelligence. You need a guide. It's like, I want you to guide me. I want you to help me. I want to help you. So on that plane of thought, when you present something that's going to offer them an ability to have a voice, give them empowerment to help you help them, that's it. That you're on it. That's the connection. That's the authenticity. Because you're coming from your mind and your heart, and you're presenting, you know, we say, you're presenting the best version of yourself. Here, let's stop on this log right here. She's like, nope, we're going to walk off of it. Okay, not a big deal. I got the question a little bit too late, so we'll try again. And it's like, not a big deal. We come back through and ask for seated stop there. So we're already way over to the right. We'll have to pretty much ask the same question to side pass to the left. So we'll position our reins to give the best information possible. And we'll ask her to go to her left and get the hind end a little bit faster. There you go. And relax right there. Let's do 2 steps back. There you go. And then we'll side pass the other way. And if the front end goes there, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, go this way. Hind end, a little more hind end. There you go. Stop right there. Perfect. Is it perfect? Yes, it's perfect. Do we get to build upon that? Yes, that's what's so beautiful about horsemanship. And I will admit I lost my train of thought because I'm kind of winging this video. But we can wash, rinse, repeat, and it's a safe place to make a mistake. It's not that we're micromanaging for perfection. We got to become more clear is all. So I'll stop right here and help her with the reins. Did you step over that? Let's go back just a little bit. Let's get back in line. Let's move the hind end over. Hind end. She's like, well, get more deliberate in your communication, sir. Oh, Cinnamon. It's like this guy's making horse videos and riding me around. He's mixing signals. I love it. So you get to wash, rinse, repeat. She took a deep breath. I'll take a deep breath. And then we'll ask her to side pass off to my right, which would be your left in the video. So we'll just light pressure, scale of 1 to 10. I want to ask with a little bit of a rein, turn the toe out, apply that. I got to get the hind end over a little bit more than the front end. So there we go. Is it perfect? Depends on what advantage point you're looking at. Because from my vantage point, me asking her to do these things, it's perfect. It's a beautiful imperfection because I don't care about perfection. The thing about asking horses questions is you want a deeper understanding of them so that you can get a deeper understanding of yourself. Because that's the authenticity. That's the connection. Examining self. Self-reflection. It's like, why did X happen? Well, let's go get some introspection of ourselves. Well, what were we thinking? Well, you're sitting here talking on a video. Are you really concentrating on what you're doing? Some percentage. Who knows what that is? Those are outside influences affecting the internal, external relationship, pathway of communication in the relationship. If we continued to do this every time, day in and day out, would we become better? Yeah, you get skill, you get experience. The challenges that you're trying to do, they get easier. That's the beauty of horsemanship. That's the beauty of life. So just cruising around, asking questions. We're going to come over this again. We're going to do a seated stop right there. Oh, she walked through it. Not a big deal. Let's turn this way. I love how forward this horse is. I don't have to pedal her. She likes to go. It's so cool. So we'll come down that little alleyway right there. We'll come down this little alleyway. Well, she's like, oh, you're getting ready to stop. Let's cruise up here and just straddle this pole like this. Good job. Now, here's a couple of things. We've done this a few times, but every time I ask her to straddle this, we side pass on it. So a couple of things could happen. She's like, I don't really want to go over that because I don't want to do the side pass. Or you'll ask her to go over that and she automatically side passes. So then you've got to change the variable in the equation to equal different outcome. So if you wash, rinse, repeat something and they start to pick up on what you're really wanting and they start doing it for you type thing, that's okay because they're highly intelligent and they can figure things out. But then you just change it up. So in other words, I come over this and straddle it and ask her to side pass one way or the other, and she doesn't really want to side pass. She won't really want to come over it. However, if I come over it, straddle, relax, and then say, hey, let's just walk off of it. We just go ahead. We don't have to side pass on it. You change it up, but you're paying attention to your horse. You're getting the feedback from your horse, and you're not drilling, you're not forcing, you're not creating a resistance or a restriction in the mind, tension in the body. And you're free flowing. You're freely expressing yourself. She's freely expressing herself. And then we make necessary changes to create desirable results. And this is just a micro fractal example of doing something. But it's important that you understand, coming from a place of authenticity, your true self, getting into a feedback loop and monitoring yourself, monitoring your horse, creating a magnetism and attraction that they want to vibrate at. They want to come and vibrate with you. You want to vibrate with them. It's very healing. Authenticity is healing. That's what's therapeutic about horsemanship. That's the secret nature hides from us. Tree of knowledge. Truth. The purest form of expressing ourselves. Authenticity. And so yeah, let's just side pass to the right here, Cinnamon. Got you kind of lined up. Turn a toe out, just side pass this way. She's like, oh, nope. Let's go this way. Are you having trouble? She's like, no, but you are. There we go. Let's go ahead. There we go. And relax. And then let's go the other way. Let's go the other way. Oh, too much reversed. There you go. Good job, good job. We're done for the day on the side passing. I hadn't played with her like that in a while, and I thought, man, that'd be kind of fun. Ask her to side pass. See if she still has it. She still does. Good stuff. Is there an outside influence interrupting our feedback loop? Yes. Well, what is it? What do we identify? We're making a video, or I am, and she's separated from her herd. So there's two outside influences and that we're aware of. And then how do we tap into authenticity to create a video and to help her be comfortable away from her herd? We ask her questions that we know she knows the answers to, create a conversation, move and breathe together, do stop exercises to allow processes to catch up. Good breath. And then repeat. And then that's authentic. That's allowing her to express herself. I express myself. Then we identify authenticity in each other. And it's like, oh yeah, now we can actually ascend in consciousness. So I'm going to just do a lateral flexion before I get down. Bring a toe in the stirrup. I'm going to come straight down. And man, that was fun, Cinnamon. There's so many things we could do at this point. Self-reflection is very important. What could I have done better? But we can also move and breathe together on the ground. So as my final, I should have told you guys this was a little bit of a bonus thing I wanted to tell you about in the beginning, but that's okay. What I'm going to leave you with is there's going to be people that will come into your life and they're in judgment and they're going to judge you. And generally they're judging themselves, but that's okay. We can go into that. They're going to judge you for something. And I get calls, and check this out. These are the kind of calls I get. And it's like, really? I want to get a horse, but I'm afraid to ride it. Is it okay if I have a horse and don't ride it? My answer is always yes. But tell me more. I just want a companion relationship with a horse. I want to pet them. I want to groom them. I want to do all of the things except for ride them. And I'm like, yeah, that's man, we need more people like you, come to think of it. But it's like, yeah, because if that's your authentic, true self, and you're vibrating at that frequency where you want to love an animal, horse, that horse is going to feel your authenticity, your true self. And yes, you can have a horse and not even own a saddle. You can brush them, you can groom them, you can maintain their hooves. You can do walk exercises in replace of riding. I mean, you'd think that would be common sense, right, guys? But I literally get a lot of calls like that. And I've trained a lot of horses where people are like, all I need them to do is get in the trailer, follow me around, be able to communicate with the lead rope and halter. And that's great. That's beautiful. So it's like this. If I just say, come on, Cinnamon, and we just walk around and in our truest, authentic selves, we get to express freely. Like, I don't really want to ride you, but I'd like to play together. It's like, I'd like to stop here. Good job. She's like, I want to keep going. I'm like, okay, let's keep going. Come on. And you get to kind of feel each other out. You get to play with each other. You're still going to grow in a relationship. You're still going to understand each other, true self, authenticity. I'm going to just ask her to do a circle. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And you could do kind of these cool little things. You can create draw. Yes, you can rub them to a stop. You can do all these things, and it's still so valuable. It still has purpose, and it still has meaning. Again, the purest form of self-expression, authenticity. It's like, don't worry about programming, conditioning. Don't worry about what other people think. Do you? You've heard those kind of things, but it's like, I really want to look within myself and become better. I want to enhance the 5 areas of my life. My health. Walking with a horse is very healthy. You are moving, you are breathing. You are getting a sense and an understanding merging together into true essence, which is authenticity. Your true self. Oh man, It's so cool. It's just so cool. Come on, Cinnamon Girl, let's go for another walk. Come on. And so you're walking with your horse. You're moving, you're breathing. You can literally create magnetism in this horse to want to be with you. Why? Because it's of benefit. How do they recognize benefit? They know the game of life. They understand the laws of nature. They abide in them. If we learn the laws of nature, we abide in them. It's vibrational frequency transferring back and forth. It's a benefit to them. They draw to that. We already draw to them because we feel it. We know it. It's not easily described or explained, and it's unique to each individual in the horse. That's what's so beautiful. They're all individuals. They're not the same. They're not stamped out like same. They are adaptable. They're just, I can't say enough nice things about them. But the thing is, you can do things that are not mainstream, traditional training practices. What this guy did with that one horse on that one video may have been great in that fractal moment of time with that particular horse and that particular guy. It's even what I'm doing here, you know, it's not exactly going to be like this every single time. That's why it's so difficult to write a book about horsemanship, make a video about horsemanship. You know, it's authentic and true, and it has to be experienced. And that's what the beautiful thing about an accountability partner like a horse, giving us a mirror to stare into and see our true self. But I will say, a lot of people are scared of their true self. They don't like what they see when they look into the mirror. And all it is because they don't have the courage to face that rejection, to understand that, like, yeah, you are the rascal, you are the trickster. You can change. You can say, I choose this or this. And they're right there willing and ready to help you. Aren't you, Cinnamon? She's like, yeah, but you asked me to come away from my buddies, and I'm kind of looking over there at them. That's okay. That's okay. I love that about you. Anyway, guys, that's about all I have for right now. Come up here, Cinnamon. Come up here. Her name's Cinnamon. I'll let y'all look at Cinnamon. I want to check my note card here and see if I did forget anything else. I would just probably like to leave with, see, it's windy, so I have to make sure this doesn't fall down. And I'll let you look at Cinnamon there, how beautiful she is. Her name's Cinnamon. What do our notes say, Cinnamon Girl? What do our notes say, baby? Yeah, I think I told them everything. Guys, I hope that you're having a wonderful new year. Today's January 1st, 2025. And what I've shared with you in this video will help you connect to the divine. We are part of something greater than ourselves. It's a universal connection. What I've shown you is a fractal of what helps you free yourself from ego limitations. And I heard it described like this: earth guided only. You ascend into a spiritual consciousness. There's 3 planes of consciousness, and physical, mental, spiritual. But that authenticity flows naturally. And that's what's that connection that will cause a connection. And they recognize it. You'll feel it, recognize it. It'll motivate you. It'll energize you. And again, free you from the limitations of the earth-guided only self. You'll actually walk in bliss. It's tough to explain. I'll do my best. I'll keep trying. And there's lots of different ways to explain one thing. 360 degrees perspective around one thing. But Cinnamon helps me. She helps me explain it. Come up here a little bit closer. So I make these videos for me, and one day I want to watch this back and I want to see my pretty horse, Cinnamon Girl. Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. She's like, take me to my herd.